Oh, yeah. Okay. We're good.
All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Premium Seat with Anae Madrid. She's going to be teaching us today one of the last lessons in the 10 lessons program of how to be in the premium seat. Thank you for everyone here in the live Zoom room for joining us, and also everyone joining us on the lives across social media. Madrid, welcome. Thank you. Anae, Madrid, welcome. Thank you for being with us here again to present another aspect, another piece of knowledge on how we too can live on the premium seat. Welcome.
Yeah, good to be back. Last session, Hannah. It's like, oh, but we'll keep hanging out. There's some links to Patreon and things if people want to, come and hang out and be part of a group chat and discuss and self-inquire. And yeah, Denise, before we went live, was just asking about the previous session we had last week. We explored awareness, or the premium seat, if you will, what we truly are, and how that relates to object. So I guess I'll take my trusty little cup here. We'll just have a recap. Cheers to everyone. So quickly and very short, most cases, people would look at an object and think that they're actually experiencing an object. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just the way our conditioning has been. We think that in most cases, we take the meditation we did at the very start. In most cases, people think they are somewhere within this body, limited. And then that creates, as a natural effect, what seems to be an external world of objects, we think. And we think we're actually experiencing these objects. But during last week's session, we self-inquired, and we keep sinking more back into what we truly are. We discovered, most of us, I think, on this call, that we're not actually experiencing objects. We discovered I'm actually experiencing my perception and not the object itself. And this is very powerful, because then we can take full responsibility for our lives. And this actually leads into tonight's session. When we realized that what we thought was the external world, and it's now more of a mental experience, we're actually experiencing our own state of mind. It leaves us in a very powerful place. Here the goal and the promise is permanent problem solving. And so we start to take responsibility for the problems that we seem to create ourselves now. So this is huge. Instead of blaming the external world or blaming someone else, a circumstance, something we're not happy about, the weather, anything external, this can go for anything. Take it for your situation. Now we come to realize, no, it's actually my state of mind I'm experiencing. And I'm coming to the point where I'm no longer going to beat myself up and punish myself for judging something that I now know is only just my state of mind. So I'm going to screen share again, and it's a bit of a fun lesson, actually. Let's see, screen share. Is that working? We'll go here. Okay. The dream state analogy, yes. We briefly spoke about this last week. We're taking an example of just someone, any name. Michael falls asleep. Michael's mind conceptualizes Joseph, a separated figure in the dream. Now, this is like when we feel like we fall asleep. We never really fall asleep. Thought thinks it falls asleep. But from the premium seat, we are this open, empty space that's always wide awake. It's always wide awake and open. So from thought's point of view, or we may say, oh, I fell asleep. But when we have a dream, we're still aware, right? And everyone just quickly check your own experience right now. Do you feel like when you have a dream that you're aware? Yeah, I see a nod. Yep, I see lots of nods. Good. So yeah, we still feel like even during a dream, we're still aware. So Michael falls asleep and he has this person, Joseph, now, the dream figure. And there's always a figure, it seems, because in order to experience a world, there needs to be a character. So that's how, we came to experience this world, is that we thought we became finite in this body. And now we're actually doing the work to realize, oh, we're infinite consciousness. We're actually sitting in the premium seat, and that this limited self actually never happened. It was just a dream that we were finite and limited. To contract itself and make a new character in order for us to be able to experience a dream world. So Joseph, the dream character, is going for a walk around, I just made this up, say San Francisco. And during this walk in the dream, Joseph sees 10,000 different objects in this dream world. But when Michael wakes up, what is the stuff, the seeming objects that was in that dream? What was it made of? The dream character Joseph's world, it was made out of the mind of Michael. So can it not be, as it truly is when we explore our actual experience or self-inquire as we do here, before we got told what this world is, when we do self-inquire and explore, we find that it's all made up out of consciousness itself. So that we, and now we have to check here, we meaning the character in the middle row or I awareness. We are living in what seems to be a dream world filled with all these tens of thousands, millions of objects made out of consciousness itself, the true I, the true premium seat, awareness. So now we can sit back and go, okay, so this whole thing, and you have to take it for your own experience. Everything, if I look around the room where I am now, is made out of me. And then for you, it would be, it's made out of you. And so this work requires us to only focus on ourselves and our own journey. There's no more projecting out into the external. It's all happening now from within. And first, this might seem like more of a mental experience, like, okay, I intellectually understand this now. And there are gradually like deeper and deeper levels that get unlocked completely naturally as a byproduct of self-inquiring into difficult circumstances, problems. Any problem that we have, we can sit there and inquire about it and trace it back to absolute bliss, which is the premium seat. Absolute, open, empty, no resistance, because we only have problems when this seeming character that sits in the middle row of the cinema rises up and says, I don't like this. I want to get rid of it. That's the only reason, that's the only way how we could ever have problems is by, thought knows an object. So the thinking mind, the monkey mind, will seem to create problems. And then the resistance to the mind also creates problems. So yeah, inquire and go back to sink back in, always asking, like, what is this made out of? What am I actually experiencing? I have a note here, technique. And the only thing that's real, the only thing that we are is the knowingness. Yes, knowingness itself. And then here a note of, there's a private group chat where we can do some more Q&A for anyone who's interested. So for the next week, check your experience. This is how you can check things, by always going within and asking, what am I actually experiencing? And using all these other sessions that we've had and the tools and that's within them to be able to always trace it back to the premium seat. Nobody has ever or could ever experience anything other than the knowing of experience. That's it. So here we come to the fun part, the 4 keys to premium seat seeing. Because we're seeing things differently. And when we see things differently, we experience the world differently. And that's how we can be in the world, but not of it. That's how we can be, functioning, seemingly, in this world, but from a very peaceful place under all circumstances. So here's a model that can be used in any situation to basically transcend problems. The model is based on an example of watching a car drive along a road. This model trains one to view what is happening in life from the premium seat. So we are the one witnessing the driving of a car. So in a business sense, these keys have the potential to increase creativity, productivity. Keep in mind that the premium seat is like, again, this open, empty screen while we do this lesson, like watching a movie and the objects are just appearing on the screen. However, they are really made up out of the screen. When we're watching a movie, there seems to be lots of characters in our life and all our problems and all the joys, but really it's made out of just the premium seat state, this consciousness itself. Okay, next slide. So the 4 keys to problem solve anything and how to deal with difficult people, which we can go into in the private group later. Seems to be people dealing with it or not knowing or wanting to know more about how to deal with difficult people. Once they arrive at this new understanding, it's like, okay, well, how do I deal with people, from the premium seat who seem to be still difficult? But I know they're not difficult. At least now people are like from the state going, okay, I know it's me. And I don't want to cause any more issues. I just don't know how to deal with a difficult me, my difficult mirror. So we'll talk more about that. Number 1, the first key is movement. So if we take the example of a car driving along a road, we're imagining a car driving along a road. Now, instead of seeing physical objects, we can see energy. We're going to start seeing energy, because when we just see energy, there's no problem with that. So this car is driving along a road. We see movement. Movement is representing the car as it moves along a road. The second key is we can still see action. Even though we're not seeing physical objects, we can still see modulations, we can still see action. So the action would be the image of the driver's hands moving the steering wheel. We can still see action. Number 3 would be energy exchange. So this has to do with the gas that is burnt in the engine to propel the car forward. And number 4, we can see the potential. We can see potential energy. We can see the potential of where the car would go based on knowing the driver in the car. So I got another example here, but I'll just stick with this one. So now we can take these 4 keys and just play with it. Just play with solving problems with these 4 things. So I have used this example before. It's just an easy one to practice. So let's say there's a mother and she has a child and they're in the kitchen and the child knocks a glass off the counter and it falls and it breaks. Now, and maybe for you in a lot of circumstances, I see people and they'd go, oh my gosh, and they'd get, even though it's not a big thing, they'll get a bit upset about it, they'll be like, oh man, I've got to wipe this up now. Or even if it might just be a subtle thing, like, oh, I'm gutted. Damn, it was kind of like a glass I really like too, it's my crystal glass. So instead of seeing things as a problem, now we're going to see through them and just see the energy and the humor and the bliss behind it all. In that case, I'm going to pick an example here. We can see action. So I'm seeing the glass falling to the floor. And what I'm seeing is an elevator. I'm seeing the action of the glass falling. And in my mind, I'm going, oh, it just took the elevator to ground level. So in that moment, the problem is no longer a problem because within the person's experiencing humor. And from that point onwards, you can immediately problem solve and just, wipe up the glass without feeling any anxiety or stress anymore. Okay. So it might seem silly for now, but, in my experience and many others, if we keep practicing this, and it's quite funny because it's not meant to be practiced almost, if you will. It's meant to eventually just happen naturally as a byproduct of being in this blissful state all the time. But it's fun to just play around with this during the week and just, when something's happening in your life and you would have gone, oh man, that sucks, Try remember these 4 keys, and I'll send it to you all. These 4 keys that you can use to, instead of seeing a problem out there, instead of seeing something, bad or upsetting, we can actually turn that around and experience bliss and humor, which is, anything can pass through us in the premium set, and it just passes through us with no resistance. I'm just going to quickly read one more example here. Maybe this will make a bit more sense. Here's an example of a man on a Monday morning, and you are sitting with a friend on a bench. So we're just going to imagine the scenario. Viewing this man walking to work with a briefcase. He's wearing a suit. He may be a CEO or an office worker. This man is walking slowly. His shoulders are slouched over, slumped. He's looking at the ground. You may look at this person and think or say to your friend next to you, that guy looks so depressed. Look at the way he's walking. It doesn't look like he's having a great morning. This is an example of seeing from the character in the middle row of the cinema. Your friend next to you, seeing from the premium seat, perceives the same scenario and says, oh, that man is admiring the brickwork. He looks very interested. So this is how, two people can look at the same things and experience an entirely different reality, it seems. So the moral of the story is that, in a workplace scenario, seeing from the premium seat enhances, again, the creativity for problem solving, enhances communication, and increases productivity. If you actually test this way of living out in the real world, you'll actually see that the real world responds well to it. The world will, difficult people will all of a sudden start acting differently towards you. It's incredible, because you're no longer judging them for being the difficult person. And this happens beautifully and naturally. So as you may notice, seeing from the character's point of view in the middle row relies on projecting the past into the present moment, and it relies on judgment, which is not helpful. So the world of perception can be good or bad, and to perceive in a detached way from the premium seat allows for problem solving in a focused manner rather than from a place of stress or anxiety. So yeah, it's something really basic. And it doesn't mean, here we come back to the real world, it doesn't mean that if you see someone who looks, who's looking at the ground, slumped over, yes, you can have this very blissful thought of like, oh, look, he's just very interested in those pretty tiles that he's walking over. But at the same time, we live from our hearts. So that's not going to stop us from actually going up to the person and saying, hey, man, you look pretty interested in those tiles, but how are you really? Are you good? So it doesn't stop us from living as, compassionate human beings. These exercises are not meant to be in a detached way, like, oh, everyone can just be rude to each other and not care about anyone else's feelings. It's a balance of both. And when we are not stressed out about these things that happen in our life, then science can look at us and go, oh, wow, you're so healthy because you don't seem to have much cortisol in your bloodstream. So it makes us naturally more healthier people, it seems, because we are healthier and happier within our state of mind, our operating system where we're doing life from. So, man, time flies. It's 5:30. That's it, really. But yeah, do you guys have any questions or things that are difficult for you that we can talk about?
Questions? Anyone here in the Zoom? I want to thank you, Anaeve, while the questions are coming, for closing this 10-week program in a way that I feel like it was so soothing, because in between session 1 and session 10, there was so much covered. And yet I feel like, at least my experience has been that it's a practice. It's a daily practice. It's a decision to be self-inquiring. What am I witnessing? What am I experiencing? Is it the perception? Is it the thought? Am I awareness? And it seems like so freeing from the first session that I ever participated with you to the last one. It seems like each was a building block, yet any one session can deliver something for someone where they are at in life, whether it's a personal challenge, growth, or business challenge or growth. So I want to thank you. I want to open the floor for questions. Any questions or comments? Seems like everyone was blown away.
If you can sit still and just be quiet, then you're in bliss.
Ed has a question.
I thank you. Thank you, Fernando. I don't have a question, but I do have just a comment. And I really did love the discussion today. When earlier in the call, when you were talking about the example of Michael dreaming, I was reminded of a recent study of mine when I had bought a book, and I was very fascinated at the point of learning how to reconnect with my dreams. I was very curious about how can I do that, because I have had very good dream life at times. And the point of me bringing this up was, after reading that book, I had more insight into my waking life than the dream life. So, and this lesson is kind of reaffirming that, being able to pull yourself back to the premium seat. And one of the other thoughts that I had was just allowing the awareness to just be. And when you are sitting in let's say, empty fullness in a dream or in a conversation with a difficult person, per se, if you're able to let yourself move back to the premium seat, as much as we are emotionally attached to that, person in the middle row, right? And the experiences that they've had, coming back to the premium seat is the most empowering thing that I've been able to experience. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed the lesson and very applicable to my life right now. So thank you, Anne.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's through sharing our stories and our experiences that we can just truly inspire others to as well. Just go, wow, these people are so happy. What are they doing? We all deserve this, and we all deserve this state. So yeah, thank you so much sharing. It's true. Yeah, we can always stay in any difficult circumstance in that place. And yeah, it seems to take practice, but at the same time, it's not really a practice because we're already there. So at times when we feel like we're not there, we have the tools. It just takes a bit of self-inquiring, and it'll get quicker. It'll be like, oh, I'm triggered. I thought there was someone else out there that is disturbing me, but no, I realized very quickly it's my mind. Okay, here we go. Quick self-inquire, boom, back to doing what you were doing before, or just sitting still peacefully, whatever. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. This has been another blissful session, and yeah, I don't really have anything to say to end this.
I want to say thank you, Anne, for doing this, for doing the work and taking the time to teach us. It's been very valuable. It seemed like you were having, in some of the slides, you were mentioning a private group or a private invitation. Is this something for this session, or you want to talk about that today or a different time?
Yeah, just anyone who has been joining these sessions. So you can, because I felt like it was just such a lot to put into 30 minutes. And I think, yeah, this is how the work is done, is to ask the questions that seem to be bothering us and exploring them together. That's really what the chat group is about. So it's really about people helping themselves by asking questions and listening. And through listening, they help themselves. Everyone already has the answer. We just need someone like a mirror to bounce off, to go, oh, yeah, that's right. Thanks for reminding me. But it's really you reminding yourself. So, yeah, I'll send everyone the chat group details.
Wonderful. And for anyone watching and listening to this in other platforms, where can they find more on information on how to work with you and join the group?
DailyFreedomSchool.com.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Anne, one more time. Thank you, everyone else, for being here and everyone watching, listening. There might be some links below. If you would like to share this with someone you care about, please do so. And maybe 1 or 2 or 3 takeaways if you want to type on the comments below, so that as you're typing, you're reinforcing the new learning, and that will make it more natural for you to realize that it's here. The premium seed is here, and anything other than that, it's a creation of thought, of mind, that you can, with, just like Anne said, catch yourself realizing that you can put yourself back into the premium seed, which is already here. It's nowhere to get to. It's already here. So thank you, Anne. Appreciate you, respect you so much. Thank you for doing what you do. And till next time.